I paid $250,000. That's my script. That's why 50 when he came in, because we put a cease and desist order in through my attorney. That's why they couldn't do a motion picture. That's why you didn't see the BMF story on the big screen.
50 Cent is reportedly furious with Lil Meech and has threatened to fire him from the hit BMF series amid growing allegations of sabotage and betrayal. According to industry insiders, 50 believes Lil Meech has been working against the show's success, and the situation escalated further after claims surfaced that Rick Ross secretly paid Meech to disrupt production and shift the narrative around the BMF legacy. Sources say 50 has been suspicious for months, accusing Lil Meech of leaking confidential details, missing key promotional events, and causing behind-the-scenes drama. But the alleged payment from Ross was the final straw. "I built this show from the ground up," 50 reportedly told his team. "If he's playing both sides, he's done." The accusations have caused a major stir online, with fans divided over whether Lil Meech betrayed the project or is being unfairly targeted. Meanwhile, Rick Ross has remained silent, fueling speculation that there may be more to the story. With tensions boiling over and the future of the series at stake, 50 Cent appears ready to make a bold move. If the allegations prove true, Lil Meech could lose not just his role, but his last remaining tie to the BMF legacy.
Big Meech's giant welcome home concert
I told you it was gonna get
canceled.
What'd I tell you?
The bill was
What
insane.
did I say?
The list of artists on it was insane.
50 Cent has officially cranked up the pressure on Lil Meech, hinting that he's ready to fire him from the BMF series over what he views as deliberate sabotage. The situation spiraled after Big Meech was seen getting close with 50's longtime rival, Rick Ross. From that moment forward, the tension exploded into a full-scale feud. Within days, 50 exposed private text messages showing Lil Meech venting about being unfollowed and accusing 50 of shifting his focus to another artist. Those same messages revealed that Ross had slipped Big Meech cash to hold him over until the next BMF season, a move that reportedly infuriated 50. In response, he publicly mocked Lil Meech, suggesting he could be replaced or that the entire series might be scrapped.
February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert.
He even took it further by sarcastically claiming Meech might soon end up on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta if things continued this way. The ultimate power play lies in the fact that 50 owns both the TV and film rights to the BMF story, which means Ross can't create his own version without facing major legal barriers. On top of that, 50 has been casting doubt on Big Meech's upcoming Welcome Home concert, pointing out how major names like Lil Baby pulled out early, with others likely to follow. It's become clear that this isn't just about firing Lil Meech, it's about sending a warning. But the bigger question remains, why is Ross suddenly the one lining Big Meech's pockets? After his release from prison, this alliance raised eyebrows across the industry and sparked speculation about the true motives behind their partnership. Big Meech reportedly believed that once he came home, figures from the rap world would show support, and not just with words or appearances, but with real financial backing. Rick Ross was the one who stepped in with a substantial payout, and that single decision may have set off everything that followed. Accepting Ross's money put Meech directly on 50 Cent's radar, and from that point forward, 50 made it his mission to undermine both Big Meech and Lil Meech at every turn. Since then, 50 has relentlessly increased the pressure, making it increasingly difficult for the Meech family to maintain relevance without reconciling with him.
Boss of all bosses, and today I'm coming to tell all my supporters, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you got, you trying to make it go up, hit me right.
He's pushed a damaging narrative about Big Meech's reputation, even hinting that he's untrustworthy, a claim that has spread quickly. Artists who once celebrated Meech's legacy are now distancing themselves, and some have even stated that they wouldn't consider performing at any event tied to him. The respect Big Meech once commanded is quickly deteriorating, and what used to be a symbol of power has now become a liability. Within weeks, public perception shifted dramatically, from idolizing his return to actively avoiding association. The highly anticipated benefit concert, meant to be a financial boost and an opportunity to re-establish his influence, ultimately collapsed under the weight of 50's campaign. It was supposed to be a turning point for Meech, but instead, it highlighted just how fragile his position has become in the industry's eyes. The way 50 Cent holds onto a grudge has become almost legendary. It's not just personal, it's calculated. and that's why he remains undefeated when it comes to industry feuds. Once 50 locks in on a target, he doesn't simply aim to win a battle. He aims to dismantle reputations, disrupt finances, and make recovery nearly impossible. Right now, Big Meech is feeling the full weight of that pressure, and the shutdown of his highly anticipated benefit concert is proof of just how far 50 is willing to go. This wasn't a situation where tickets weren't selling or interest was low. On the contrary, the event had a strong lineup featuring major names like Boozy, Young Scooter, and others. The concert was set to be a massive homecoming moment for Big Meech, both financially and culturally. But all of that vanished with a single power move. According to insiders, 50 made one strategic phone call, and suddenly the entire event was pulled. The reason? 50's deep relationships with major promoters and touring companies, partnerships that have been built over decades. These companies know the value of staying in 50's good graces, and they're not willing to jeopardize long-term business relationships over one concert. The result was a complete collapse of Big Meech's comeback moment before it even began. The financial impact of 50's actions is visible in more ways than one. Just look at Lil Meech, whose business ventures and entrepreneurial efforts have also been affected by the fallout. What was once a promising path to re-establish the Meech legacy is now overshadowed by 50's relentless interference, a clear sign that this grudge is far from over. The situation has reached a breaking point, and it shows just how far things have spiraled for Lil Meech. Not too long ago, he was front and center on a hit television series, building a promising acting career and carrying the legacy of a powerful story. Now, however, he's reportedly taking $500 promotional posts on Instagram just to keep the bills paid. That dramatic fall from grace speaks volumes about how unstable things have become behind the scenes. There's nothing inherently wrong with taking promo deals. When times get tough, everyone looks for ways to stay afloat. But the way Meech presents himself in these ads tells a deeper story. Observers noted that he seemed disengaged and uninterested, as if he were being forced into the situation rather than embracing it as a business move. This visible decline has sparked conversations about whether Meech is facing more serious personal struggles beneath the surface. 50 Cent has publicly addressed some of those issues, revealing that there were significant problems during production. According to him, Lil Meech showed up to set visibly under the influence, at times unable to perform, and ultimately required rehab to remain part of the show. The situation reportedly grew so concerning that even cast members noticed. One incident involved Meech becoming physically ill during a weapons training sequence, and another involved substances found in his vehicle. With those reports in mind, it's understandable why conversations about removing him from future projects have intensified. The entertainment industry thrives on professionalism and reliability, and when an actor's behavior begins to jeopardize production, even close working relationships can reach a breaking point. At this stage, many believe that stepping away from 50's projects might be the inevitable next chapter in Lil Meech's story. Lil Meech's downfall wasn't just the result of bad decisions. It was a chain reaction triggered by both his actions and his father's. At the center of the chaos sits Big Meech, whose influence and choices have played a major role in shaping how things unfolded. In many ways, the situation is as much about perception as it is about money. Big Meech has long relied on his legendary reputation to attract attention and financial backing, but the moment that reputation begins to crack, the support disappears. Once people stop seeing him as a larger-than-life figure, the money and opportunities dry up almost instantly.
The Young Scooter.
50 has the third party cooperant, Tammy.
One example that illustrates this shift perfectly was when Lil Baby pulled up on Meech alongside Tony Yayo. In the past, appearances like that usually ended with envelopes of cash changing hands purely because of Meech's name and legacy. This time, however, there was no payout, and that lack of respect reportedly didn't sit well with him. It exposed how much his influence has faded and how dependent his financial situation is on public perception and association. Compounding the problem, Big Meech is said to have burned through the money that came from 50 Cent's BMF series. Both he and his son earned significant sums from the project, but by the time he was released, those funds were gone. Expecting more support, he turned to 50 again, only to be met with silence. Enter Rick Ross, who sees the opportunity to step in with financial backing, even though it meant aligning himself against someone who had supported Meech's family for years. This shift placed Lil Meech in a deeply uncomfortable position. He had built his career under 50's mentorship and wanted to remain loyal, but he was also trying to support his father, who had now sided with 50's most notorious rival. That tension left him caught in the middle of a feud much bigger than himself, one that has effectively derailed everything he had built so far. The situation is now spiraling into something far more serious than a music industry rivalry. It's becoming a full-blown power struggle over legacy, money, and control. With Big Meech aligning himself with Rick Ross and 50 Cent refusing to back down, the BMF brand is stuck at a crossroads that could define its future. On one side, you have 50, who owns the TV and film rights, built the BMF show from the ground up, and shaped Lil Meech into a recognizable name in entertainment. On the other, there's Ross, eager to exploit Meech's legendary status to bolster his own image and take a direct shot at 50's empire. Behind the scenes, industry insiders say this feud has become deeply personal. 50 reportedly views Ross's involvement not just as competition but as sabotage, a calculated move designed to undermine everything he's built with the BMF brand. That's why he's been relentless with public jabs, strategic power plays, and the repeated threat of firing Lil Meech from the show altogether. It's not just about punishing betrayal, it's about protecting the BMF story from being rewritten by someone else. Meanwhile, Rick Ross seems to be playing a long game of his own. By publicly associating with Big Meech, he's attempting to position himself as the new face of BMF's legacy. Someone who can repackage the story for profit without needing 50's involvement. And while Ross doesn't hold the rights to the story, he knows that public perception can sometimes matter more than legal paperwork. If the streets and the culture begin to see him as the real ally to BMF, it weakens 50's grip on the narrative. Caught in the middle is Lil Meech, whose career is now in jeopardy because of choices far beyond his control. If he sides with Ross, he risks being blackballed from the show that made him famous. If he sides with 50, he risks alienating his father and fracturing their already fragile bond. It's a lose-lose situation. And whichever way he turns, the fallout will likely follow him for years. What happens next may determine not just the future of BMF as a brand, but also the legacy of everyone involved. One wrong move could permanently damage decades of street influence, business partnerships, and cultural relevance. And as tensions escalate, one thing has become clear. This isn't just about a TV show anymore. It's about who gets to control the BMF name and who gets erased from its history. Now that Big Meech is aligning himself with Rick Ross, it's clear that 50 Cent isn't going to stop until he completely destroys both their reputations. He's already gone after Meech's credibility, publicly accusing him of being a rat and backing up those claims with alleged evidence that has the entire industry buzzing. And when Whack 100 weighed in, the situation got even more explosive, adding fuel to the fire and shedding light on deeper betrayals that many didn't see coming. One of 50's most damaging moves was exposing Tammy Cowens, a federal informant who used to work closely with Big Meech and is now heavily involved in producing the BMF series. 50 implied that Tammy is still connected to Meech in questionable ways, even suggesting that Meech used her as a go-between to pass information to law enforcement. The allegation is that she served as a third-party messenger, which, if true, could forever stain Meech's legacy and raise serious questions about his past dealings. But 50 didn't stop there. He also targeted Meech's alleged involvement in betraying a longtime associate named Cuffy. According to 50, Meech tricked Cuffy into a situation that ultimately led to his arrest. To support this claim, 50 shared an audio clip of Cuffy speaking from prison, claiming that Big Meech set him up and played a role in putting him behind bars. By highlighting this, 50 is painting a picture of a man who not only betrayed the streets but also orchestrated the downfall of people close to him. All of this plays into a much larger narrative 50 is trying to control, one where he positions himself as the truth teller exposing the darker side of Meech's story. Whether you believe every claim or not, one thing is undeniable. 50 Cent has no intention of letting up. His mission now is to drag both Big Meech and Lil Meech down to the point of no return, cutting off their influence, their income, and their credibility piece by piece. What do you think about 50's relentless campaign against the Meech family? Do they deserve the level of backlash they're getting? Or has 50 gone too far in his mission to destroy them? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on this intense and unfolding drama.